Hello and welcome to Between Worlds. Today is February 16th and I'm Jennifer Kavanaugh. I have been sitting with a dream I had a couple of days ago. It was probably on the 11th or 12th of February. It was Thursday or Friday evening. Um, and it was very vivid. I'm still thinking about it in great detail. And I wasn't sure if I should share it, but this morning I'm feeling called to do so. So in the dream, I had actually traveled to a university. My brother was there, and my brother is he's long done university. That was many years ago, but he was in his last semester of university, and I was traveling there with my parents to visit him. And it wasn't a university that he actually went to in this lifetime. It felt like we were in the US because it was a very big football stadium there. It felt like a very big football school. It felt like a really big city, much bigger than what we really have here in Canada. And so we first went to his dorm room and he was really stressed out. He was sitting at his desk working away, and you could feel the energy of stress and anxiety kind of oozing out through the whole room. And he was saying to my mother that he had to get a job, and he had to get a job because he needed the money and he needed to do it before he graduated. And my mom was like, well, that's probably a good idea. Like it's not really anything to be stressed about. And but if you need help with money or whatever to get through your last semester, we'll help you. And he was not calmed by this at all. He just continued to be stressed out. He was he was talking, but I couldn't really make out what he was saying a whole lot, just that he needed to get this done. He needed to get this done. And we had come to see him this particular weekend because there was a big football game that was going to happen. Our family doesn't watch football, never has, but we were coming to see this big football game, and there was going to be a big show. You know, it felt very similar to like a university level version of the Super Bowl, is how I would describe it. Um, and so my mom, and I, kind of feeling his stress level, had said, we'll go get something to eat and we'll come back, and we'll see you in a bit. And so we started walking to the door of his room, and he pulled my mom aside and said, no, you don't understand. I've gotten myself mixed up with Joe. And my mom was just kind of like, well, whatever. Like, she's just, you're a little bit overworked. But I knew this was very bad. And the last name started with a B, and I got these images of like, like mafia or something from the movies in my head, and I knew he was in big trouble. I knew he was in big trouble. Um, and just to be clear, like when we're dealing with dreams, oftentimes the people that we see don't necessarily represent the people that are actually present in the dream. So this might not actually be my brother, but it was presenting as my brother, because I don't believe any of this to be true. Clearly he's not in school anymore. And so anyway, we said, okay, no worries, we'll meet you, we're going to go grab something to eat and we'll come back later. And so we walked out, and there was, the way that this space was set up is that there was the dorm rooms, the dorm halls, kind of to the left. And then in the middle was the massive stadium, which seemed to be open to the public. Like it wasn't just for students. And then to the right of that, there was a bunch of restaurants and shops and stuff. So we had to walk past the stadium to get to the restaurants, which is where we were headed. And it was about midday. It was really warm. It was like a summer feeling. And so we're walking by the stadium, and there's a small crowd there, like maybe, I don't know, 15 people standing outside in front of the stadium. And this kind of black, I don't know if it was a limousine or just, a nicer car, pulls up. And who gets out but Joey B? And I'm like, well, I don't want to talk to this guy. So I'm trying to like get around the crowd. I wanted to go actually look in the stadium. But when you're on the sidewalk with someone and you're trying to get out of each other's way, but you both go in the same direction. Him and I kept doing that. And I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you, but I couldn't get around him. So we had this like awkward moment for a couple minutes as I was trying to get around him, because I was like, well, there's these 15 people who really want to talk to you, and I'm not one of them. Just want to get in the stadium. And I remember a woman standing beside him with a black umbrella. And that seems inconsequential, but there is something symbolic with the black umbrellas. I know Magenta Pixie mentioned it many, many months ago, but I've been seeing black umbrellas in a lot of different scenarios. So, and I'm not sure what it represents, but it is a symbol that I keep seeing. And anyway, so I get past this small crowd, and I think they were just doing like a PR or a photo shoot or something. And I step inside the stadium, and it's, a very large stadium, kind of like what you would expect for a Super Bowl type game. And forgive me, I have no football references whatsoever. And so it was open air, quite large. And when you stepped inside, you could feel the excitement of the event bubbling. Like, the day before a big event, you can feel it, just everyone's excited. It's about to happen, and it's going to be a good time. And I walked in just almost in this state of awe of like, oh, I'm actually really looking forward to this event tomorrow. And I can feel how much effort everybody's putting into it. And as I stood there with my mom, and I was looking at the sky, and it was this beautiful blue sky. But what I noticed was that there's these perfectly circular clouds. And there was maybe like 24, 25 of them that went all the way around the stadium. They were all above the stadium, and they were perfectly round, not like how you see a normal cloud. And it perplexed me for a moment. And I was like, what are these clouds doing here? And and then I got the image in the dream, that these clouds were like bombs, like weapons of some sort, and that they were going to be used the following day during the event to harm people. And I thought, oh my gosh, like what? How am I gonna warn people about this? How am I gonna stop this from happening? Because nobody's gonna believe me that these puffy clouds are a danger. So I didn't say anything to my mom, and there was other people milling about, and I didn't say anything because I didn't know what I could say that would make a difference. But I knew it was something I had to work on through the night. There was like kind of this element of like, we'll have to solve this before the morning. And then my mom kind of pulled me away, and we went for dinner. And I don't remember the actual dinner. I know we kind of had to walk down some stairs and through some halls, and kind of like a typical mall-like setting where there might be multiple restaurants. And I have the sense that we ate dinner with some other people, but I don't recall the dinner at all. And when we finished, we came out, and I was holding like my takeover, or not my takeover, interesting word, but my leftovers, my takeout container. And I was walking out, and it was now dark. And if you recall, it was summer in the afternoon. It was summer season. It was quite warm when we were walking around earlier in the day. And as we walked outside, I saw these two poles come out of the ground, kind of like lampposts. And they came up, and I was like, that's kind of odd, but whatever. And they started spraying snow. And I was confused because I was like, well, it's summertime. Why would we be spraying snow? And then I thought, well, maybe this is just for the event, because it does look really pretty. So maybe they're doing some kind of theme with snow. I don't know. And so we started walking. And at first I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of pretty. And then I realized that our skin was burning slightly. And a lot of people weren't aware of it because it was very subtle. But I had this awareness that the snow was poisonous, which was very odd. I mean, growing up in an area where we use they manufacture snow for ski hills all the time. It's and it looked actually like, after the fact, when I woke up, I was like, oh, that wasn't a lamppost. That was actually what they used to spray snow. But at the time, I was like, we need to get out of this snow because it's poisoning us. And again, I couldn't say anything to anybody because it sounds absolutely crazy, as most of my dreams are. So now I'm, not only crazy in my waking state, but also in my dreaming state, apparently. And so we started running back towards the dorm. So we cut across the stadium, and we're running through, and there's a parking lot before we get to the dormitory. And so there's other people, just strangers, we're all trying to get out of the snow. And as we come, there's like a little couple of steps up to get into the parking lot, which is all open air. It's all exposed to the elements. And so we're trying to climb up, but now there's so much snow that the snow has completely covered the stairwell. So, if you're used to that, it's no longer stairs. It's basically like a mini mountain that you're climbing up. So it's not an easy thing to do, especially when people are rushing. So I had run to the front of the group and I was like, here, let me go up the stairs. I can kind of push the snow down so that we can see the stairs again, and get through. And that is when I woke up. So that was kind of the end of my dream, and still very vivid in my mind a few days later. I'm not exactly sure what it means, um, or how it might be a metaphor, but this morning I'm being asked to share it. Perhaps it has a meaning for somebody else, or perhaps you have your own message out of it. But what's interesting is last night I had another dream, unrelated, I think. But the first part of my dream, my grandfather came in very strong. Like sometimes when you see people in dream state, it's kind of like they're a ghost and you kind of know that they're not really there. But this case, he came in physical body. Like I knew he was in his body. And it took me a couple minutes to remember that he had already passed away. And then I was really excited that he was there. But what's interesting is, and what I'm kind of been sitting with this morning, is that his name is also Joe. So there's this theme going on this weekend, with that particular name. And perhaps somebody knows some of the numerology. Perhaps there's something along that lines in connection with that. But in the dream I had last night as well, we were traveling everywhere we were going. We were driving, so it was like every 5 minutes of back in the car and back in the car, and every time we went to get back in the car, I had lost my keys and I couldn't find my keys, and it was getting really frustrating for me and everybody else. And we were driving back and forth, and eventually we went to a very well-known coffee place, but we had gone from Canada to California within 20 minutes driving our cars. And what was interesting is we went to this coffee place, to get coffee, but we actually went because we needed to buy some new tech gadgets. And someone had ended up buying me some kind of gadget to make sure my keys wouldn't get lost anymore. Um, but I thought it was interesting that we went out of our way to go to this coffee place, not to get the coffee, but to get the technology that came with the coffee. And I don't drink coffee so in real life, and I have not been in this particular coffee shop in many years, probably 10 years at least. So maybe they do sell technology now, but as far as I know, they don't. But it brings up some interesting questions. So the past weekend, there's been some very interesting dreams coming up, and there's some alignment to what I see happening in the world, because obviously we've seen a lot of snowstorms over the weekend, particularly in the US, and snowstorms that are kind of out of the norm for those climates. And I just recently saw a video of someone who tested their snow too. So that all kind of piqued my interest, and has pushed me to share this dream with you. So hopefully it's some entertainment in the least, and maybe there's some other tidbits that connect to pieces that I just haven't seen. So that's that for today. And we're also getting a massive snowstorm this morning. So we woke up to a lot of snow here as well. So I wish everybody well, and we'll see you soon. And if you have any insights, if there's any tidbits that connect for you, I'd love to hear them. Have a wonderful day.